Welcome to the exciting world of the movies.
All right, the movie graveyard. We are ready to bring a close to the 2022-2023 football season.
Woo!
By talking about one of the greatest football films of all time. One of the most important football films ever made.
Wow.
Yeah, for sure. Right up there with Brian's song and Necessary Roughness.
Varsity Blues?
Varsity Blues is very lower tier.
Nothing beats Varsity Blues.
Varsity Blues is just a remake of All the Right Moves. You know that. Come on. But yeah, we're talking about the 1988 classic Johnny Be Good.
See, it was subconsciously you wanted to say Varsity Blues.
I know, like cheap. That's what happens with cheap knockoffs. They get stuck in your brain, and then you have to. But yeah, Johnny Be Good, like definitely the most like I'd say probably realistic depiction of football players with Anthony Michael Hall and Robert Downey Jr.
The most realistic football players you will ever
Yeah, for
see.
sure. But yeah, we're gonna get it rolling. We have it on the original film logo. This was an Orion film, so
The prettiest film logo ever.
It was that and the TriStar logo. I always loved as a kid. Those were like my two favorite. Well, really New Line Cinema as well, but as far as the opening logos, Orion and TriStar, where the horse would come out and fly away, grow wings and fly away.
Yeah.
But yeah, so. We have it, we're looking at the Blu-ray right now. I'm not sure how many releases this has had over the years, but this Orion Pictures release is 34 seconds on the Blu-ray, if you happen to have that, which I bet you don't, because this came out from Olive Pictures, and nobody ever buys Olive Pictures Blu-rays. But anyway, yeah, I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, go, and we're going to get rolling here. Everybody grab your remotes, 1, 2, 3, go.
Dang, you don't even give them time to grab their remote before you say 1, 2, 3, go.
Well, it's a podcast. I mean, they can rewind, they can pause, they can do whatever they need to do.
Right.
And let's be honest, like there's some movies, like if I'm talking about like Batman or something, everybody's got a copy of Batman. But if you're talking about Johnny Be Good, nobody has a copy of Johnny Be Good. So
There's no captions?
So yeah, there's no captions, unfortunately. This being a cheap ass Olive Films release. Hopefully somebody else will put this out eventually. I'd love to get a 4K of special edition of Johnny Be Good. But yeah, like this movie is like really kind of interesting for it being this was literally a very minor, like I think it was like released in January or February, one of those type movies, or maybe it was like spring, but it was just like one of those movies that like I remember using it as a kid. I went to go see it, but it was just one of those movies that came and went, and like nobody ever talked about this movie ever.
And they never will. After I saw this, I was like, this should go into the vault now.
Yeah. Well, we kind of have instantly, like within the first 20 seconds here, we have a reunion of Breakfast Club. And I think that was like kind of like, intentional, to be honest with you. So we have Anthony Michael Hall as Johnny. And then his best buddy, Robert Downey Jr.
Wearing his red lipstick.
Yeah, with his little Valentine's Day lips he has there. But yeah, Paul Gleason, who played the principal. And it's kind of interesting because in Breakfast Club, Anthony Michael Hall was the geek, and like Emilio Estevez was like the jock. But this time, this is like I think 3 or 4 years after Breakfast Club, so like the roles have reversed, and Anthony Michael Hall shot up a couple more feet, and he's filled out and he's ready to play the star quarterback. But yeah, so like this opening speech was like quite the thing here, because it's like. I mean, it's the most like
some very colorful language.
Yeah, the coach like I'm trying to remember everything he says, but like he's pretty much telling me like you don't want to be a loser and all this shit, and like basically just call him all these names, like
all the inappropriate words that aren't allowed to be said anymore.
Yeah, and then the coach even punches like the water bowl, like shatters it.
That was crazy.
Yeah, but like it started out like, "Dear God, let us play the best game," and then it just evolves in like let's not play like candy asses and all this shit. And so like off the bat, this isn't really like a serious movie, which is really interesting because I feel like this movie would be like a little more, like basically a few maybe 5 or 6 years after this, there was a movie with James Caan called The Program, which were like like, I feel like this movie is kind of like the precursor to that.
There she is.
Yeah, Uma. The beautiful Uma Thurman, introducing her in this film. She was only a model before this, if you can believe it. And it was like, it's weird though to think that like, only like 5 or 6 years later, she was like in Pulp Fiction. It's like quite the...
Dang, really?
Yeah, growth.
Wow.
But yeah, like off the bat here, you know, Robert Downey Jr. is the backup quarterback, and like he's begging to get in the game because it's the last game. But it's also like the state championship, which that's like one of the few things I gotta call this game out. Is like there's like really not that many people. Like the stands are like full and shit, but like for a state championship game, like first of all, you don't really play that like at your home school. You go and you always play that somewhere else. But
well, it depends if you have home advantage.
But with state championships, they always do it at a neutral site, and it's like it's always so like both. What do you call it? It's pretty much just so more people can come see it. Basically, you always have it like in a bigger arena. Like ours, like we played in the state championship, and like we went and played in the dome where the Colts played.
Oh my gosh! Wow, really?
Mm-hmm. Wow. We played our state in NFL stadium, but it always happens too in Cincinnati.
But I think that's...
Excuse me.
That might be a Midwest thing, because I don't really remember... I mean, my school didn't go to anything like that when I was there, but I don't know. I don't really remember anything like that. I thought it was just... They just played at one of the schools of whoever was in the championship.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe it depends on what division you're in or whatever. Like, maybe if you're like really in a lowly division, you might...
Yeah.
Because, I mean, everybody says, like, state champions, but there's 1A, 2A, all that kind of shit, state champions. Yeah. And, like, it was a little nebulous. Like, I kind of didn't pick up at first, but, like, that was Robert Downey Sr. playing the guy who's always taking notes and kind of spying on Johnny. And it's like, I didn't really know at first if he was, like, another college coach recruiting him or if he was just...
Yeah, you don't really know what's going on with that guy at first. You just see him throughout the whole movie, but you don't really know what he's... I mean, you kind of get an idea after a while.
Yeah.
But yeah, you don't... Initially... You don't really know, like, who that guy is.
Yeah.
Okay, I gotta bring this up. The fact that, like, we're saying all the opening scene had all this inappropriate stuff. Now I'm saying that's why it'll never see the light of day again, probably. Yeah. But the visiting team and their Confederate flags on their
the visiting team has Confederate flags. And some
of the players are black.
Yeah.
I just thought that was so, like, weird. Because, you know, we're so, like... exposed to stuff now that's like, you know, not appropriate and all that stuff, and whatever, I'm gonna say it. There's a lot of woke stuff now, so it's like
there's a lot of
just
everything.
Seeing that, I was like, yeah, nobody, this will never see the light of day.
I mean, they never really identify this team they're playing against, but like one thing I do know, not so much with the Confederate flag, but there was always like a lot of like, I mean, like, my school, we were, like, the fucking Trojans, so we were, like, the most generic Roman Trojan thing you could be. But I remember there was a lot of schools back then called, like, the Rebels.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, obviously the most famous is, like, UNLV
that's
running
him?
Rebels. Yeah, that's Robert Downey Sr.
Really?
And, so, like, I was thinking maybe the Confederate flag, like, maybe they were the Rebels or whatever.
Yeah. They never really named the team.
No, they just... kind of set it up. Like, even Johnny's team, I'm really not even sure what the mascot is, because, like, they don't show any mascot character or anything.
Yeah, I don't really remember them mentioning it.
Yeah. So they did a joke where, like, they had the cheerleader take off her panties, and now they're going to distract the other team, because she's going to do all these flips, and, which, like, really, like, comes into play later on. I'll explain it. But, yeah, Johnny pretended to be hurt for a play so Robert Downey Jr. could come in. But then he's a backup quarterback, but then he runs the wrong way. And then eventually he does run the right. Look how tiny he is amongst the other guys running.
No.
Like I know he's supposed to be big Iron Man and all this shit.
And he's so, the way he jumped right there, he's so ballet-like.
Yeah, he runs like a dancer. But, yeah, he eventually runs for a touchdown. So, like, as much as he sucks because he ran the opposite way, he actually is, like, really great because he ran the whole rest of the field. Like,
yeah.
And it's awesome how, like, they just trash, like, the shower room with all the little Gatorade cups everywhere.
Yeah.
Which, like, that side looks like Gatorade, but this side looks like apple juice. It's weird.
I was gonna say, that side looks like pee. Like, when I first saw it, I was like, oh, did they play a joke on them or something?
It's kind of funny though, because like they even got the notice Robert Downey Jr. had the cheerleader in the headlock, but they even let the cheerleaders come celebrate, and everybody's just in the shower getting wet with their clothes on. It's very bizarre.
It's a very
celebration. 80s. Yeah. But yeah. But I don't know, like I was just real quick, I was like genuinely excited to go see this. Yeah, here, like this is hilarious too. Howard Cosell, who unfortunately I guess he was in his older years. He's all shaky and shit, can barely hold the phone. But he's calling Johnny to congratulate him on playing the greatest high school football game he's ever seen. Meanwhile, he's at a country club eating breakfast or some shit. Like it's so goofy. And like the coach, yeah, he just gets on the phone and like totally shits all over Howard Cosell. But he got the Gatorade bath. But I was like,
for our listeners that may be out of the country, explain who Howard Cosell is.
Howard Cosell, he's one of the most famous sports commentators, I would say, of all time. He's always the guy that talk like this. It's me, Howard Cosell, and we're like, and like actually like in Better Off Dead, like the Korean guys who would always drag race Cusack, they would intimidate. They would imitate Howard Cosell when they would do the voiceover on the loudspeaker.
This part was so crazy to me. Like, I feel bad. Like, I don't know. We'll see as this movie unfolds. But, like, this stuff that they show, like, is so crazy.
Yeah, I mean, this is obviously, like, a very wacky whatever movie. But, like, it really is, like, really... Like, you see it, like, now, like, more dramatized in films, dealing with like college athletes. Like I would say like
it's like a spoof of like a movie like this, but I mean the pressure I'm sure is the same. Like look at them constantly harassing you about come to our school. Yeah,
like I almost think this movie would have like done better or been like more remembered if it came out like after all the serious ones like like The Program and like Spike Lee's He Got Game is pretty much like the dramatic version. It's about a basketball player instead of football, but it's the same shit about him getting recruited to schools and what they're offering.
By the way, I was gonna say, they are the rebels. I was gonna say, I was wondering if they were doing some kind of homage to Grease in that football game kind of thing, because like the R's on their like jackets and hats and stuff.
Oh yeah,
look like the R from Rydell.
The Rydell. Yeah, I never noticed that.
Yeah, that was like I noticed that right away. I was like, oh, is that supposed to be like a little like ha 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 kind of thing to Grease?
So yeah, he has to. Like, he doesn't really run away. They just lock him behind the gate. Like all the college coaches trying to recruit him. And then we set up that Uma Thurman's his girlfriend, but her dad is like the local cop, and like he's all over him and like spying on him and shit. Hates him. But like, yeah, I was like really excited to see this movie when it came out because obviously I was an Anthony Michael Hall fan from the John Hughes movies, and Weird Science was like literally one of my favorite movies. I love Weird Science as a kid. And then I also too like this movie's just an amalgamation of well, I shouldn't say amalgamation, but it's just a reteaming of a lot of people I like because like in Weird Science, Robert Downey Jr. played one of the bullies. So like it's interesting. Yeah, it's interesting now to see them like he's playing Anthony Michael Hall's best friend and stuff. And then obviously, like we said, Paul Gleason playing the coach. He was the principal in Breakfast Club. Yeah. So like it kind of like this is one of like the last dying gasps of like some of the Brat Pack type of movie making of the time. And also too, I was a big fan of like after Weird Science or right around the time, maybe the year after. SNL got really weird and just started casting actors. So they cast Robert Downey Jr. and Anthony Michael Hall, and I was watching during that time, and they were only on the cast, I think, for a year.
Jeez.
Yeah, like the way they're punching each other. So it's like, it's really weird. Like these guys are young guys. Like I think they're probably still in their early 20s, if that. But they've already they already done like movies together, and they've also done a whole season of Saturday Night Live.
From this movie? Like before this movie?
Yeah, I want to say they were on the 85 cast.
Wow.
And this came out in 88, so this is like, they've known each other for a long time by this point.
This is so weird.
Yeah.
Look at the dog. He's looking right into the camera. It's so funny. He's like, who are you people? Get out of my house.
So this is where it gets really wacky. Like, we see the coach's home life. He's married to a young Jennifer Telly. It was like always one of my favorite actresses because she's always like so wacky. But she's like pretending to be a waitress in their own house. Like it's very bizarre.
No, she is a waitress.
Right, but she's like carrying trays of shit around like in her
because
house.
She's serving her husband.
But no, she like watch. She'll get the drinks and she'll go in the other room, but like nobody else is there. That's what's weird about it.
Because that's how she's serving her husband. It's an old timey house.
It is. And did you notice all the Elvis figurines they have there on the wall?
No.
They got young Elvis.
Like they have a picture of the dog.
Yeah, like they have these little chihuahuas that they let crawl all over all the furniture. See, like, where is she going with that drink?
To the kitchen.
But
see, we can't tell because there's no captions.
Yeah, there's no captions. But no, but it's like he always sings Bobby Darin. I think it's Jack the Knife.
Yeah.
And he's
Mac
like
the Knife. He's
like Mac the Knife. Yeah, he's like a super like lounge like leisure suit guy. Like when he gets dressed up in this movie, he always wears leisure suits. So
yeah, she like during that exchange, sometime he asks her like, "Oh, what time are you going to work?" And she says, "After I serve you dinner."
Yeah.
So she has a waitress job.
So this is the great Seymour Cassell. He plays the president of Piermont University, I think it is. Maybe it's Piedmont. And like, yeah, he's basically trying to work a backdoor deal to get Johnny to come be the quarterback there. And it's like the only like the deal of it is like he'll let the high school coach come be the college coach. And then it's like
he's trying to work a deal for himself too.
Yeah, because he's telling him like, "Hey, John will go wherever I tell him to go." You know.
That dog on the table looks so drugged out. He's like, he's all like ready to fall.
Looks like they gave him Benadryls and shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, like he even tells Jennifer Tilly, "Hey, like make some more dinner, for our friend, or whatever." Like, and she's like, "Oh, but we don't have that many salmon patties." He's like, "It's a special occasion. Break out the fish sticks." Yeah. I was just like, "Oh my god!"
I thought that was funny.
So you see all the Elvis figurines, and then like over on the other side, it looked like there was one where he was like in the '68 comeback special.
Yeah, I saw that one.
But yeah, it's just really like wacky though, because like. You could have totally, like, changed this, like, or actually not even really changed the script. Like, you could just play this more serious and made this movie, like, a straight drama. But it's, like, a really, like, wacky comedy, and it's, like...
I don't know, like, I thought sometimes it kind of was, like...
Towards the end,
not, like, really serious, but, like, I didn't think it was all, like, comedy, like, silly a lot of the time. Like, I mean, the guy legit wants a promotion.
Yeah.
So he's trying to be as dastardly as possible to get it.
Yeah. And it's kind of funny, though, because it's like, Robert Downey Jr., like, I swear it seems like he had, like, no lines in the script, and they just let him improvise everything, because, like...
That's how this exchange looks, like, the way they're talking to each other.
Yeah, they're just driving around in a car, and, like, that's another thing, too, like, this is a movie that fully, like, enforces it. It's, like, just about every, like, high school, like, wacky teen comedy... Back then, like, everybody drove a convertible. Like when you're a kid and you're watching movies and stuff, like, you just think convertibles are so, like, more common than they actually are. It's weird. But, like...
Do you think that had anything to do with, like, it was easier to film?
Yeah, I think it's just easier to, like... I don't know, like, the lighting stays more uniform.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, if you're in a covered car, like, it's...
Dang!
Like, yeah, he had to zoom past all the... I thought it was funny, too, that there was, like, a guy from the military trying to get him to come. Like, I'm sure he's trying to get him...
Hey, they got a football team, too.
I know. Which I've never understood that, like, ever. Like, the Army and Navy football teams, like, I don't really get, like, where they get the guys from, or if the guys are really soldiers themselves, or what.
Yes, they are. They have to be.
But, yeah, like, they have all these guys just, they're representing this school and that school, and it's, like... It's kind of funny because, like...
I think it's the guys that are, like, in the academies.
Yeah. I mean, that's what it is, but it's like...
So they're not actually active soldiers.
Yeah, like, they're in the schooling part of it.
Yeah.
But, like, everybody, like, every college coach has, like, a, what do you call it, like, a plaid sports coat that's color-coded to, the, like, I guess their school's colors. I thought that was kind of funny.
Mm-hmm.
Robert Downey Jr. has this Band-Aid on his neck for no reason.
Maybe he cut himself shaving.
Yeah, I mean...
But here we see this guy, he's trying to convince his friend to go to his school.
Yeah, he's saying we got a buddy program, so if you can get Johnny to come, you can come too.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, yeah, it's like...
Oh my god.
It's like, this part of the movie is, like, really weird. Like, really, like, the next... Probably like 15 minutes of it.
They're just like standing outside his house, yelling into his house.
Yeah, they're almost like paparazzi or some shit. Like every time he comes out, they jump up, start screaming.
He's just standing there looking in, like, oh, there. That was weird.
Yeah, and we introduced the family. Like, there's really no dad. I don't know if they ever like mention if he died or he's just gone or what. But there's like the mom, the little sister, the little brother, and the grandpa. It's pretty much his family. And, like, it gets real rambunctious here in a second, but, like, I thought this was, like, actually a good scene because, like, how he tells his mom, like, you know, I'm going to make enough money, you know, that, you know, you won't have to work anymore. Like, I think it was cool that they showed that he was, like, a kind-hearted kid, you know?
I thought this part was weird, though, because, like, I mean, I don't know anything about that whole process, but, like, I think it's funny that he thinks he's going to get all this money from a college deal. Like, it's not like he's trying to get into the pros.
Yeah, but I mean, I think the thing is, and this movie in itself was like my first kind of exposure to the corruption of the NCAA. But like, yeah, there was a lot of like high profile in the 80s. I think SMU is kind of the most famous one, and they got what was called the death penalty.
Jeez.
But yeah, like there's just like the 80s was kind of like the decade, and it got worse in the 90s too, to be honest with you. But the 80s was really the thing of like. Kind of the naivety started wearing off of like how like pretty much like all the kids, like, you know, the top kids get bribed and get money handed on their table, usually like from the donors and shit, and the school looks the other way. No. That's kind of like the Tex guy, like he's not really officially like officially associated with the university, but like he's just there like bringing in all the players. It's kind of like that thing. So like, yeah, like Because like, that's usually, generally, like there have been some cases where they bought kids' families' houses and shit, but a lot of times it's more like they get the mom a job, or they get them, like, a place here or there or something, or a car or something, like, whatever they need. So, like, yeah, like, I think Johnny was just, like, kind of looking that way, because, like, you know, like, he's kind of already, like, there's really no moment, like, once he starts talking to the schools and they're kind of, like, bringing out all the shit that they're going to give him, like, there's really no moment where he's, like, naive and he's like, oh, what, like, he kind of goes into the recruiting process with his hand out, you know?
Yeah.
And, like, I think that's what the guys, like, outside, like, they're not, like, they're not really, like, the big dollar ones. Like, they'll just promise him, like, oh, you know, we'll give you this, or maybe you'll just come here and get a great education. But, like, I think that's why he's really not taking them seriously. It's like, they're not really, like...
You remember those characters on the cup?
Yeah, they're, like, little, kind of, like, I don't know what you call them.
They were just, like, little circles, and they all had, like, they were, like, Mr. Happy, Miss Sad, or something like...
And they had, like, those noses and shit.
They were all named after emotions. They were the original,
Inside Out.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, when he plays drums in his bedroom, it's like, there's the picture of Charlie Chaplin behind it, which, like, again, it's weird that, like, Robert Downey Jr. in this movie is, like, a nobody, like, literally a nobody. Like, he's not even close to being the lead of this goofball movie, and then just, like, 3 or 4 years later, he made the Chaplin movie and got the Academy Award nomination.
And he's doing a scene at a table, making funny faces and doing funny things.
Yeah.
Talk about predicting the future.
Yeah. But the movie's, like, this part of the movie's, like, a little weird, because, like, it's a short movie. Like, I want to say it's, like, only, like, 86 minutes, but it really wastes a lot of time in the beginning, and, like, I'll get to some things here pretty quick that are just kind of interesting about that. But, like, yeah, like, at first you kind of, like, don't really know where the movie's going. Like, this is just literally a montage of him playing drums and watching football on TV.
I kind of just took it in that that's how he was, like... imagining himself and just learning from the greats, like how to, you know, be a better football player.
It looked like specifically he was looking at highlights of John Elway, which, like, he very much is in that mold of, like, a young John Elway in this movie. But yeah, here's we get some wacky things. They go to the
so gross.
Uma's house, and Robert Downey Jr. steps in the biggest pile of dog shit ever. And I thought it was interesting though that it was like already, like, culturally whatever, that they have the little lawn jockey guy, but theirs is actually painted white. Like, I actually remember that time, like, when, like, a lot of people had those on their lawn, and, like, they originally, like, all painted, like, black guys, and then eventually they were painted white guys, and eventually you just never saw them ever again. I always thought they were cool, but I never really, like, I wasn't even really aware that they were, like, what a jockey was at the time when I was a kid, but it was just, like, weird that not everybody, but you would see them around town. People would have them in their yards.
Did she always have that lisp like that?
Who?
That actor. She had it, like, so...
The one that played the mom or whatever?
The one that opened the door, yeah.
Well, Well, yeah, like
because I know she's been in other stuff. All right, I recognize her.
I don't know. I don't really know who she is, but there's like some weird shit where she's looking out the window later. Like then she has like some weird spot on her nose. Like it's
yeah,
really weird.
I saw that. I noticed that
like,
too.
Like it's almost like there's like some shit cut out of this, but like I'll get to that in a second. But like so basically, it's like yeah, he's showing up. He wants to take Uma out on a date, and of course he brought his best friend, but he wants to take Uma on a date, but like the cop dad shows up and he's like, you guys got to play us in football, and like they have this slobby guy, this fat guy that
somebody they arrested.
Yeah, somebody they arrested. They make him play in the football game, and then like here we just get like again like more high hilarity hijinks, but of course because Johnny's too good at football, they got to handcuff one hand behind his back. And it's like the whole neighborhood comes.
Ugh, God,
all of a sudden, they rub the dog shit all over the football, which I don't understand because like they throw it to the guys, and of course they grab it, and dog shit gets all over their clothes or whatever. But well,
not just that, but like it gets on his shirt, and then later on he's gonna like tackle into him.
Yeah, like
Johnny's gonna
they rub all
into
over each other, so everybody's getting the dog shit all over themselves. Like it's just weird. You're like, why does she have like a red spot on her nose?
I don't know. I saw that too.
I'm like, was there a scene they cut out or what? And then like the dad, like I don't know why he has those weird scratches on his face either. Yeah, like Johnny just went like almost hair first into the dog shit.
Yeah. I was just like,
that was smeared all over his chest.
That was gross.
But like again, like this is like really like this the last scene that's just like pure hijinks and like you kind of don't know really where the movie's going at this point. But like yeah, they obviously beat him. And I like it too. Like they let the guy who got arrested, they let him go. He runs away. And they're like, oh, he's got the football. That's a $20 football. I was like, but you smeared dog shit all over. Like I wouldn't even want that back.
Yeah.
The cop jumps through the windshield of the patrol car.
Yeah, this is strange.
Yeah, it's weird. It almost feels like it's like some of these beginning parts of the movie. It almost feels like it's like filler just to get the film to like a feature length runtime.
It seems like there might have been a scene that they had with the girl's dad at one point that they probably just cut out to introduce who he was.
Yeah.
Aside from just that scene earlier.
Yeah. But coming up after this is like finally we start getting back to like the main plot. So okay, this is the thing.
It is your favorite part.
This is my favorite part of the movie, and this kind of actually explains a lot. So like they go to the drive-in. Him and Uma are like on the swing set. Robert Downey Sr. is watching the movie in his car, and he's like, "This movie blows." So like what this actually is I had to do some research. I was like, "Why is this movie so weird?" Like there's this guy and this girl in this park. And he's singing.
A musical.
Yeah, he's singing about we were at the football game. You flashed me your beaver, and I'll never be the same.
Is that what he said?
Yeah, that's what he says.
Oh my god!
And
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, and then she says, "You gave me a dry hump behind the hot dog stand." And then I forget what she said over that, but it's like I'm like, is this a real movie?
I totally didn't notice that they said that.
Yeah, and like it's so bad, and it's like Robert Downey Sr. goes, he's like he's taking notes in his tape recorder. He says like this movie's shit. Well, it turns out I did some research. It turns out that movie is actually an excerpt from the film Putney Swope, which I always only knew about that from the Beastie Boys mentioned in a couple songs. But it's actually a movie in the early '70s that Robert Downey Sr. directed, and it's apparently it's a satire about the world of advertising and marketing. And the movie is actually in black and white, but it's like one of those things where like when they show the commercials that they make, the commercials are in color, and that's one of the commercials. And I watched the full thing, and then the guy starts singing like, "I used to have pimples, but now they are gone." Oh my God. And like it's for like this fake acne medication called Face Off, which I thought was funny. But it's like, but it was another like weird layer besides obviously the in joke of having Robert Downey Sr. say how bad it sucks and stuff. And when it's his movie playing the drive-in, is like the director of this film. This is the only movie that I could find that he directed, but he was actually a Academy Award-winning editor. He edited like The Exorcist and Flashdance and stuff. But he actually, the first movie he's credited as editing was Putney Swope. So it's kind of interesting that like him and like Downey Sr. like hooked back up all these years later. When he's finally making a movie, directing his first and I guess only movie, and then it's like, and then it's even weirder that like Downey Jr.'s in it as well. So it's like almost like this weird family affair.
This is the scene where I discovered Anthony Michael Hall's tiny, tiny ears.
Yeah, he tugs on his ear, and like you notice how small his ears are. But yeah, like even the high school coach, he's at the game. It's telling him like, hey, you're going to go to Piermont, right? It might be Piedmont, I can't remember. And he says, I got a plane ticket for you, and all that. So like he's setting up the whole deal. He's going to broker. He's going to take John to the college and sign all the paperwork and shit.
And John's like, yes, I'll be there.
Yeah, it's so obvious he's not really going to show up there. But like the coach is such a dumbass in this film that of course he believes him.
The coach thinks that he likes him, that Johnny likes him, but Johnny thinks he's lame.
Because he is, yeah. But like, I guess, I don't know. Let's talk about Uma's like terrible character in this movie.
Jeez.
Like, pretty much Johnny's only in love with her because she's so beautiful, and she is.
I thought you were going to say, let's talk about her terrible teeth.
Yeah, like, you noticed her teeth. I didn't really notice her. Like, I don't even really know what the problem is with her teeth in this movie. Are they just not straightened, or, like...
There's just, like, kind of one on her left side that looks kind of snaggly toothed a little bit.
Yeah.
But she has, like, a lot of teeth, so, like, it's really obvious.
Yeah. But, yeah, here's the end of the Face-Off commercial. Which, like, they really kind of stretch it out in here to make it seem longer than it really was. But yeah, it's just, like, she pretty much Johnny's in love with her just because she's beautiful. And then, like, I don't know, like, you can tell she's kind of wary about, like, what's to come. Because, like, she's like, but we're supposed to go to state university together so we could stay together and stuff. So she's kind of worried about, like, losing him. And, like, when he comes back from his first recruiting trip, like, she kind of, like, jerks out on him. Like, I kind of don't even...
Yeah, that was the only part that I thought she was kind of weird, but I don't know why she assumed he's, like, doing anything inappropriate.
Yeah. But, yeah, here we go. They're at, like, it looks like a private airport, and then Old Tex shows up with the, like, I want to say this is, forgetting the name of the school. I think it's TCU is what this is modeled off of. But yeah, it's just a generic Texas university, and their mascot is the Horny Toads, and then Old Tex is kind of like the prime, like, I don't know what you call that. I'm blanking on the name. The prime, like the big donor who always pays to get all the booster. Yeah, who always comes to get the kids, and like he shows up in a jet which has like giant Horny Toad spikes all over it and horns and shit. And like, yeah, I thought it was funny that this like private airplane, like the liquor cabinet is on the door when it swings open.
I thought that was interesting. I wonder if that plane actually flies. Because they never show it flying.
Yeah, I think that they had to take that shit off. Like, I don't think it could really fly with that shit on there. I think the wind would tear that shit off, however they put it on the plane. Because you see it just going down the runway, and you never see it flying like that. But yeah, like, I'm blanking on the actor's name now, but the guy who plays Tex, he's like the first, because...
Piermont,
that's what it is. And again, we're just hijinks of the coach showing up at the school being rude to this lady. But, yeah, he's like the first of, I think, 3 actors... or no, actually, he's the second of 3 actors who are in William Friedkin's To Live and Die in L.A. First, we have Downey Sr., who had a small part in it. And then the guy who plays Old Tex, he plays the old partner who gets blown away at the beginning. And then later, John Pankow plays the young cop or FBI agent is in it. So, like, yeah, there's so many, like, weird, like, movie connections in this one movie.
I had never heard of this movie, like, before we watched it.
Yeah.
I've never heard of it. I mean, obviously the name is very common, but, I'd never heard of this movie before.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, it's weird, because, like, I couldn't find, like, what the budget was of this. Like, it's one of those weird movies, too. It's, like, some parts of this movie look really expensive, and other parts, like, look really cheap, honestly. So you can't really get a real feel what the budget is, but there's, like, a ton of, like, recognizable actors in it. Some good celebrity cameos from football and shit. But, yeah, like, it was listed as being a flop for only making $18 million, and I'm kind of like, I know that's not, like, a huge hit, even by 80s standards, but I was like, that seems about appropriate for what a movie like this would do, you know? This seems like kind of like a disposable movie that would come out and go. Yeah, and then the limousine also has the horny toad spikes all over it. Yeah.
I like that they were listening to mariachi music.
Yeah, like they go to old Texas mansion and they got like, I mean, this is like one of the scenes in the movie that seems like a big budget kind of scene, whatever.
Did you see that? How he almost fell?
Yeah.
I wonder if that was on purpose.
When I first watched it, like I kind of thought it was on purpose, but like that time I kind of couldn't really tell. But yeah, they got a mariachi band playing. There's like hundreds of people. And, like later, there's like a separate kind of concert going on too in the grass. But like that buffet by the pool, like it's just like it's so long. There's like so much food and so many people there and shit. Like I could see this actually. Yeah, and then they start drinking margaritas. And yeah, like I mean, it's very stereotypical Texas thing.
I couldn't tell what he did to her. Did he grab her butt?
I don't think he grabbed her butt. I think he just like kind of like touched her on the elbow.
Back.
Yeah, like on her back. Yeah,
I thought it was weird that she slapped him.
And here's like one of the guys I guess is like already on the team there, and like they call him like dog shit breath or whatever it is.
No, I think it was one of the recruits because when he introduces them, he says these are the top 5 recruits in the country.
Okay.
So he's just hosting a bunch of guys.
Yeah, they bring up all the guys. I forget all their names, but like they kind of have like they have like a Mexican Samoan guy. They have.
Yeah, I thought that was weird.
Of course, you got a black football player, and then just a big, burly, beefy white guy, and then like I think the other guy's supposed to be like Italian or something. But yeah, and then Johnny's with them, so you know they're all kind of whining and dining them, assuming that these guys are all gonna come with them to the Texas school.
They're all singing the song.
Yeah, they start singing the school song and shit. It's just very silly. But yeah, like I don't know. It's like it's just kind of weird too, because like usually like you see these movies like they don't really like go to this much length. They just basically show a bag of money being exchanged or something. But like this movie, like it really like I guess it being a satire and everything, like it really goes to great lengths to like showing all this weird shit going on.
Yeah, because the guy tells him, "This is all for you. This is all yours. This is all for you." Like he keeps telling him that.
Yeah. And then I thought this was going to end up being like more of a trouble thing than it was, but this is the first thing we see Tex's wife eyeing Johnny. And like she even like well, we got to talk about this joke right here.
Okay, but wait, this guacamole, oh my gosh, it is so gross looking. Like, why is it so light colored?
It's like I think it's like spinach dip. I don't even think it's really guacamole. I know it's supposed to be guacamole. There's a lady there making tortillas.
I do want to try those tortillas though.
Yeah, it looks like she's making them on like a little stone fire thing.
It looks like she's making the actual chips.
Yeah, but we got to talk about this. Like, there's this like hat filled with chips and with dips on top.
It's a man
and you think it's like just a bowl laying on a table, but it's actually a dwarf is walking around with his hat on, and people are pulling the chips out of his hat and dipping them and eating them.
Yep.
It's like it's pretty fun. And like Johnny knows him. He even comes up, says to him, he says, "Hey," and they give a high five, and he starts walking with them, talking with
Look
him.
at this fake ass whatever that's supposed to be.
That was like some Ronto's Roasters type of shit meat. Like it was just like
it looks so nasty.
But look at that guy back there. He's like rubbing like a mop on it. Oh, it's actually Tex. He's like rubbing like a mop on it. Like I guess it's supposed to be like he's putting like barbecue sauce on it, but it's like totally like a fake like.
I don't even get what it's supposed to be though.
I think it's just supposed to be like with the head and legs cut off a cow. Like I think it's just supposed to be like a giant thing.
Weird.
Yeah, and I don't know the lady who plays Tex's wife. I didn't really recognize her from anything, but yeah, like I don't know. This is kind of like she actually goes and tells Johnny that she bangs a player in every class every year or whatever.
What? She doesn't say that.
She did say that at the beginning. Yeah.
What?
She says, "I bag a player in every class." That's what she said.
Is that what that means?
I mean, what else would it mean? I mean, but and like Johnny's drunk. He's been drinking the margaritas all day, and she's like, "Oh, you want to go see the campus?" He's like, "Oh, sure." Yeah, because like he's just at a mansion. He hasn't even seen the school yet. Like
and he's asking like, "Where's the campus?"
Yeah, like
and that's the thing about his character that like why I say like it's not all comedy is like. He does try to like actually go and do what he's like he thought he was gonna do. Like he thought he was gonna see the campus, so like he asks Tex like a couple of times, like, so where's the campus? Like so it's like kind of weird because it's like I didn't really, how you said like he kind of started visiting the schools with his hand out. I didn't really get that he was like that until later on when he started seeing like what some of the schools were offering. Mm-hmm. I kind of saw him like he was just like a good kid and like, you know, he would just go and have fun. But I never really felt like he was like expecting anything necessarily. And like I think for like, you know, the ending of the movie, like it kind of like endeared me to him because he kind of got lost in all of the you know, the pageantry of everything they were doing for him when he wasn't really like that at the beginning. You know, so like I think there's some sentimentality in this movie for it being as silly as it is.
No, yeah, I mean it's a really good movie, and like when we kind of rewatched it, like I had seen it on TV a couple years ago, so it wasn't like I never saw it since it originally came out. Like I kind of remember like a good chunk of it, but I didn't remember the first half being as silly as it kind of was. But, yeah, of course she immediately starts stripping down to all this lingerie and shit. And, like, they're on, like, this giant, like, light-up star that's on the middle of the football field.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. And, but, like, yeah, like, I think the thing that's, like, kind of, like, feels weird about the movie to me is there's, like, maybe it was, like, a budgetary problem or something, but, like, there's, like, that kind of whole beginning chunk of the movie which is kind of just dicking around. Like it does, like a lot of that shit. It's not even. It's really just like Porky's type shit, like hijinks that like it doesn't really have to do with the football story. And then like he's supposed to go to Piermont for whatever, but then obviously he doesn't go there. And then he goes to the Texas school, and later he'll go to the USC type school. And it's just like it really felt like it needed like a third school. Like I don't know.
See, like this part to me, like he's trying to get away from her. It's like he doesn't want to like mess around with her, you know. So like I don't know. Like I kind of felt like at first he was like a good, not a perfect good innocent kid, but he was a good kid, you know. Like he was just living it up on the shit they were offering him, but. I mean, overall, like I didn't feel like he wanted to be cheating on his girlfriend or anything.
No, that's the main thing is he never really like wanted to cheat on Uma. Like whenever they're like, oh, all these girls, and they line up all these girls and shit. Like he was never like really that like into it or anything.
So I have a question because one of the things I said to you when we were watching some of these scenes was like I was telling you that you needed to have more guy friends so you could do these podcasts with. Because there's, like, so much, like, TNA in a lot of these 80s movies. Yeah. So that lady, like, is she, like... To me, she just looks like a skinny stick of a woman. Like, she doesn't have, like... She wasn't... I don't know. She didn't really look like much to me. Was she supposed to be... Like, is she hot to you? Like, would you consider her to be hot? Like, is she supposed to be hot?
I mean, well, yeah. I mean...
Or was it, like, a situation where... Do you think his character was like, "Oh, you're an old lady. I don't want none of you." Like,
she really. I mean, compared to like obviously like Tex had a younger wife and everything.
See, because like these girls, I can see. Yeah. Like even though I don't remember. I don't think a lot of them didn't really have like big boobs or anything, but I can see they're shapely. You know, but obviously they're athletic because they have a lot of muscle too. But they're dancer. They have dancer bodies. But like. Yeah, like, but that lady, I was kind of like, was he saying no because you're old, or is he saying no, because I'm not like that?
I think it was a mixture of things. I don't think it was because she was, like, old or unattractive. I think it was, A, he didn't want to cheat on Uma, and B, he didn't want to get in trouble, like, messing around with Tex's wife or whatever. Like, in case he would have went to school there, you know what I mean? But, yeah, like, here, him and the other recruits, like, afterwards, like... And again, Tex is like, that's my wife down there with him. And, like, Johnny's running away with his, trying to get his clothes back on. He's, like, half naked. Because, like, she was really just, like, tearing his clothes off and doing shit. He wasn't really doing anything to her. But it's, like, yeah, like, I expected more fallout after that. Like, I thought, like, Tex would, like...
Get mad.
Yeah, try to shoot him or something. I just thought some shit would happen.
See, like, this scene was, like, it got pretty serious, I think.
Yeah, like, I really like this scene. And, like... I don't know this guy's name, but this guy was in so many movies back then. Mm-hmm. So they go just to buy a bunch of beer at this gas station, and this kind of big burly guy comes out and he's limping and stuff, and he's asking like, you're a football player, you going to go to Texas and all that, and he's like, yeah, I'm thinking about it, and he's like, yeah, he's like, I was going to, he's like, but I hurt my leg, and they pulled. I know. He's like, he's like such a nice guy too, but he's like, yeah, I was a football player, and I hurt my leg, and I was going to be All-American, but I hurt my leg, so they pulled my scholarship. He's like, but it's okay, because, Tex got me this job working at this gas station, and like, I mean, anybody could have got that job. Yeah. Like, it's not like, you know what I mean? Like, he's just working at a gas station. Well, and
that's what Johnny is seeing, too. He's like, oh, like, he's thankful that he has this job, Yeah. Like, so it's like, see, it's like he's realizing, like, damn, like, my career could be over in a second. Yeah. Maybe that's why he got, like, how you're saying he started holding his hand out.
Yeah, he's like, get it while you can.
Yeah, because he realized, like, damn, if I get hurt, I ain't gonna have any money. Like, maybe he thinks, maybe that's, oh, God, that's his part.
Yeah, this guy, there's a vending machine that sells bait, and this guy takes a minnow out and eats it.
He had to have really eaten it, right?
It looks like it,
because, like, where did it go? I mean, I guess he could have thrown it behind his head, and we just couldn't tell, but still, like...
I think it went in his mouth.
That's nasty.
I'm sure he spit it out. I'm sure he didn't really, like, chew it.
But he started talking afterwards.
Yeah.
Oh my god. See, and like he's still looking at him.
Johnny looks back and waves at him.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I thought that was a good scene.
Sad. Makes me cry.
Yeah, it was a good scene.
I was hoping that they would like go back to it or something, or he would like go back over there and I don't know, do something for him or something. I don't know, because it was such like a meaningful moment. I would think. Yeah. Now he's all cowboyed out.
Yeah, like every whenever he goes on a trip and comes back, he kind of like whatever shit they give him, like all of a sudden he dresses up like in the area he was at. And then like I like this scene too. How subtle it is the grandpa. He makes these terrible plastic fishing lures, and he says like some guy called and gave him an order for 10,000, and like he's all excited, and like Johnny tries to be like, oh, that's great and everything, but like he knows there's like somebody's behind it. There's some some shit have to do with his recruitment.
Well, and too, like, the mom's trying to ask, like, how was the trip, and, like, he didn't even get to, like, see the campus or anything, really, just the field, the football stadium, but, like, so he has to, like, lie to them and be like, oh, yeah, they have a great medical school. Like, that's all he ever talks about is,
it's weird, he always talks about pre-med program. It's just like, but they never talk about him wanting to go and be a doctor or anything, so it's like, why does it even matter?
Yeah, I guess you're just supposed to assume that's what he wants to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, I think it kind of seemed like this time is the time where he kind of realized, like, oh, like, shit's not on the up and up here. Like, I don't know, like, because the way he had to lie to his mom.
Yeah, like, I think Anthony Michael Hall's really good in this movie. Like, like,
this is the weird part you were
talking. Where he goes to see Uma. She works at the meat counter at the local grocery store or whatever. And she's like, how are the girls? What was her name? Blah, blah, blah. And he just, like, I don't know, it just gets awkward.
He's like, what?
Yeah, she throws a raw chick at him. Well, he tries to joke it off, saying, like, oh, they were all fat and ugly, and, like, you know what I mean? But she's just jealous. I think she's just pissed because, like, she said, like, he was supposed to stay home and go to school with her. Yeah. But it's just, like...
But she just, like, makes the assumption that, like... Yeah. There were, I don't know. Like, I didn't really like that either. I was kind of like, well, damn, like, why are you getting so weird? Like,
well, like, I understand there's, like, such a small percentage of even the best high school football players go pro. But that is one thing I was kind of missing. Like, did he really have the goal or whatever of, like, going to the pros? Because, like, if you do want to make it to the pros, like... like, you kind of have to go to the right school for that to be seen on a national stage, Yeah. And, like, she keeps saying, like, the state university and all that shit, which is just kind of like a generic university where they live. But, like, yeah, it's like that shit really wouldn't cut it if you were trying to be going to the NFL.
I like what he says on this part. I can't tell what he said, but... I remember when he said it, I was like, that's an interesting grown-up line to say for a high school student. Yeah. Just about relationships being hard or whatever.
I like this, too. Like I really like the setting, the small town of this. Like, I like how, like, they come out of this one store, and just shows them like walking across like the little like
Main Street.
like town square or whatever it is, like with the little park, like it's like a real place. It's not like a backlot or anything.
Yeah.
But like they go and
try to like look around to see if anything familiar, because I don't know. There's something about it that seems so familiar.
It looks really like Kansas or somewhere though.
Farmer State Bank.
Yeah. But it's kind of funny though, because like they go and get haircuts. And
look, the recruiters are out there too. Jeez.
Yeah. Like they're getting their haircut, and like the coach was in there. He had a towel over his face, and he's like, you made me look like a jerk. You didn't show up and all that. And then they're like, he's not going there, like, you know, like not just to help you get a job.
I don't know if it's just like the way like film just looked or whatever, but I can't believe how vibrantly colored everybody's face looks.
Yeah.
Like the eyes and like everybody's mouth, like Uma's mouth too. It was like it was pretty pink, like in color, like, and it doesn't really look like, you know, she had any makeup on really.
No.
And like of course Robert Downey Jr. isn't walking around with lipstick, but like it's just so cool how like alive the people.
I know, like, I mean, I've complained about it many times on this podcast, and I'm sure it's just one of those things everybody's tired of hearing in general. But like, we just lost so much when movies went from being on film to digital, because like the lighting and the colors, and like I would even say like the detail, and
because like you can see like every strand in his eyebrows, like
the grandpa, It's just,
and look, you can see how the bill of the hat is like that felt material, like. That's so crazy. Like, I don't notice stuff like that in movies now. Like, I don't really see those things when I watch movies now.
It's really weird too, because there's different film stocks and different ways of. But I always hear, well, not everybody, of course, but some people they love all this digital shit, and they always complain about film grain, and I'm like, yeah, there's always like that little bit of graininess to film, but it's just so much richer looking compared to digital.
That's such a weird thing to complain about, because I'm saying the opposite. I'm talking about how detailed everything looks, and like what people notice is film grain. It's like, what? Like, I don't even like, I mean, I know it's there. I see it, but I'm not noticing that. I'm looking at everything else. Like, look how green the tree on the right looks.
Right.
It's so like pretty, and it's not even like all one color of green. It was like some of it was light, some of it was dark. Like, it's just like, I notice things like that in movies. Like, when I'm watching a movie, I look at the backgrounds of things. Like, a lot of the movies you show me, because, you know, with you, I watch a lot of older movies. When we're watching like newer movies, I don't look at backgrounds like that. I'm just watching the people. Like, when I'm watching the people, I'm not looking at like the deepness of the color in their eyes or anything. I'm just watching the movie and like what's happening.
Well, to me, like, I mean, there's like a whole thing without going too deep into it, but like when you actually, there's like a photochemical process with film, but when you're actually capturing the gradations in camera as opposed to when you shoot digital and then you color correct it. Like when you color correct it and you push the color, like look at the lawn, like all the way across it, the parts where it's dark and where the light's hitting it. Like when you use film and you're not just sitting there like with a digital piece of video and then pumping up the thing, like you can make it look more green with digital.
Yeah.
But the thing is like you're not going to have that variation because you're just basically using a computer program to change the color.
Yeah.
Whereas like if you're actually filming all the different colors for real, like you're gonna get a better like spectrum there.
Yeah.
But it's just like it's like I don't know, like when we watch movies like that, like when we watched Fade to Black a couple months ago. That scene where he was in the diner with the girls, and it was just such a like it was just a dialogue scene, but the way the light was coming through the window and how they looked, I was like, there's just something about it. There's just a lushness to it. Like even here, like in this house,
like look at the trees in the background, like, and it's. I mean, I guess there's a lot to say for cinematography as well. It's not just the film, because it's like they're setting up, and the people who dress the sets, like they're setting everything up specifically a certain way to make it look a certain way on camera. Yeah. So I mean, it's also, the credit goes to them too, but it's just, I don't know. I guess what I'm saying is movies look better back in the day.
Here we have this wacky pizza.
That's the end of that conversation.
Yeah, this wacky pizza delivery guy here.
Oh my god!
Played by John Hawkes in an early role. And I always thought he was a Texas actor.
You think he was really punching that?
No, I think he was pulling his punch there. But yeah, they have 30 pizzas delivered to the coach's house. They have some Hare Krishners for some reason. They have a I think that's what they're supposed to be. They have an elephant. They bring an elephant. Yeah.
And then there's a stripper,
a male stripper, interrupting the wife's dinner party. And I like how they're playing with the chihuahuas, holding them up. And then an exterminator guy comes with some giant gun of foamy shit, and the coach he wants the Hare Krishners a stripper out of his house, so he blows all this foam on them. But meanwhile, he's just trashing his own house. I don't know what that shit would do. Probably eat a hole in your couch or whatever.
So gross.
But again, just more wacky hijinks.
Oh my god!
And I guess the Hare Krishners brought a chicken into his house. But yeah.
Somehow a chicken got in the house.
But I was wondering though, I should have. Well, I mean, I couldn't. The Wikipedia didn't have it, but maybe they did film this in Texas because I'm pretty sure John Hawkes was originally just acting in movies in Texas before he finally came to LA.
Do you think they purposely put that pepperoni in the middle of his face, or do you think it actually got stuck from when you shoved it in his face?
No, I think they did just to be wacky. Yeah, for sure.
It was so gross looking.
Yeah, but here Johnny is going to go to the state university to talk to the football coach, who's actually, I thought this was actually, I was wrong. This is the fourth member of the cast of To Live and Die LA in this movie. This is Steve James, who's really known as a martial arts expert. He co-starred in all the American Ninja movies with Michael Dudikoff. He kind of actually even took him over a little bit more when Dudikoff left, I think. But he was in To Live and Die in LA too. He played one of the gangsters in it.
That's interesting.
But this guy, I don't know if he was a former football player or what, or if he's just into martial arts, but this guy had such a physical presence in his films. Even in this scene where he's just
very distinctive.
Yeah, his voice and the way he's just sitting behind the desk, he was a good actor.
He's black excellence.
He is.
For reals though.
Yeah. But yeah, it's kind of a good scene because basically he says to the coach, I want to know, what's here, what kind of deal are you handing out? What will you give me? And the coach pretty much tells him, we don't give deals. We don't pay you under the table. We don't break any of these rules, that the NCAA has. He's we'll give you a scholarship and, room and board and food and, that's it, And he kind of warns Johnny, too. And I thought this was good. Mm-hmm. He kind of warns him, kids like you going around with your hand out, you get involved with these people. Because that's another thing, too, is, there's all kinds of stories of shit going wrong, too. Because these people, they feel like they own you once you take that money and shit. Yeah. And,
and Johnny's trying to tell him, well, that's why nobody comes here. Because everybody expects something. You got to give something.
Yeah.
He's that's the way it works.
Yeah.
And the guy's okay, bye.
Well,
basically,
he tells
nope.
him you could just end up, getting more than what you're bargaining for here. He pretty much tells him you're playing with fire, get involved with all these sleazy people,
Yeah.
But I kind of wish there was more shit like this in the movie because
yeah.
I get you kind of have to have the funny parts or the comedic parts to kind of hold the attention of a young audience. I assume they probably thought a lot of teenagers were going to go see this movie, but yeah, it's kind of the more serious one. Yeah, we got to talk about Uma's pajamas here.
Her long johns.
She has long johns in, and they legit have the pooper flap in the back. She has a button-up ass crack on her. Thing.
Where did she put her slippers?
Yeah, she jammed her slippers in her wardrobe, in between her dressing gowns.
She has a puppet on the wall.
Yeah, there's a ventriloquist dummy. That's how you know, she got a longhorn skull. Yeah, Johnny was in her bed,
naked,
pretty much naked, hiding under the covers. And she's all screaming and stuff. And she's like, "Oh, my dad sleeps with his gun down the hall and all this."
And he doesn't talk.
Yeah. But I think this was the only scene where they're really oh, we got to show off Uma's body here. Let's put her in the skin tight, old timey fucking.
It was weird.
Yeah, it is weird, especially because it's the rest of the movie, or at least where they live. It doesn't seem really you know, like cold time. Like it's not really like winter or whatever.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure.
It should be autumn because it was at the end of the football season.
Yeah, but like ours would always like the state championship where we lived would always be like around like Thanksgiving time. Yeah. So if they live in like you know, kind of more temperate climate, it might still
remember where they said they lived.
I don't know if they really did like ever really specify.
I thought they said California at one time, but
really?
I don't know. I might be wrong. I don't remember. I thought I remember something like that.
So yeah, he's trying to win her back here to get her to stop being so jealous or whatever.
Even though he never did anything wrong.
Yeah, he never did anything wrong, but you know, these small town girls, you gotta sacrifice everything to keep them happy, I guess.
It's funny because, like, I don't see him as being, like, a hunky lead guy, but, like, I thought she did pretty good as, like, the little bashful, you know, lead female. Like, especially that first scene that she was in where she was, like, talking to him in front of the school. Yeah. Like, she was so, like, cute and flirty in that scene.
Yeah. Yeah, Downey and Anthony Michael Hall are, like, beating the shit out of each other. They're, like, play fighting, but, like, they're, like, literally punching each other and, like, throwing each other against the walls of the house. And Chris Downey Jr. threatens suicide with the dart gun here. I remember I always had these. You always pulled the little thing back here. I guess I had a rubber band inside and you shoot the little dart out.
He is so ridiculously silly in this movie.
Yeah, and it's like you can't even understand what he's saying half the time. He's just like saying all this weird shit.
It was like an easy paycheck for him.
Yeah.
If he got paid.
Yeah.
Here's the LA school.
Yeah. It's
fakey USC.
Yeah, UCC, which they never say what it stands for, but I guess it's just University of California something. But it's with the school's colors and everything, it's clearly modeled after USC. And then like he gets off the plane and
he looks funny the way he's looking at him.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And, like, he's got his hair, like, all did up, which he never wears the rest of the movie. So, like, he's already trying to be more spiffy. Mm-hmm. And, yeah, like, they have, like, I don't know, what do you call this? The drill team or whatever?
Yeah, it looks like a drill team.
Yeah, like, they're all at the airport. It's like, he gets, like, a full marching band, like, welcome pretty much here. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this is the last member of the To Live and Die in LA cast, the awesome John Pankow. You guys might also know him from Monkey Shines. He was awesome in that, too.
Wasn't he the brother in Ellen?
Yeah, I was going to say, I knew
not Ellen, Mad About You.
I think he was Mad About You, yeah. I was going to say, I knew he was on a sitcom, too, but I couldn't remember which one.
That's what I know him from.
Yeah. He's drinking, I think it's a little Perrier. They're driving in the Mercedes, and he's talking on the car phone. That was the most Hollywood thing you could do in movies back then, was have a car phone.
Was this guy actually somebody?
Yeah, so I was going to say, this is like kind of like the big main, besides obviously Howard Cosell, this is the other big cameo. This Jim McMahon, they show him, they take Johnny to the set of an Adidas commercial. And like, yeah, this would have been right at the end of his best run, which was with the Chicago Bears. Like this dude was like such a big deal, you don't even know, and it was all about the hair, and he always wore.
He looks really familiar.
Yeah, the headbands and stuff. And then he played a little bit after that, and I think with the Chargers and then a couple other. I think in the Eagles, he was a backup there. But yeah, like he was kind of like the big hot shit quarterback for a little bit, or one of them, like I'd say one of the top 5 for probably like a good 5 years in the 80s.
He's so young looking.
Yeah. I mean, they probably shot this like 87 or something like that, so he was still with the Bears. I think he played with the Bears, I think from 84 to 88, something like that. So he's still probably, I mean, he still had years left to play, because he played like kind of toward the early to mid 90s, but yeah, probably his best years like was like when he went to the Super Bowl with the Bears and stuff a couple years before this. But
it's funny how he's like, oh, do you think he wore his hair because he knew I was going to wear my hair like this?
Yeah, which is like...
that was such a weird thing to say.
Yeah, it was like, dude, it's fucking Jim McMahon always wore his hair like that. Like, yeah, Downey Sr.'s on the set of this commercial. Now, this is kind of the best joke here, I think. They like, he's telling him, like, oh, you know, we got the best training facility and everything here. And he takes it, There's literally like this like little counter.
Neon.
Yeah, neon
Pharmacy,
signs.
pain relievers, steroids.
Yeah, pharmacy, steroids, and pain relievers.
And then, of course, the way they filmed it, you didn't see steroids until the last pan of the shots.
And he tells him, Johnny, don't worry, we use the finest steroids here. It's like, oh, really? Okay, that makes me feel better. Yeah, and then like all these guys, you know.
And women.
Yeah, there's a woman too, all buff.
There's 2 of them.
They're all working out here.
Oh, there's a few of them.
Because, you know, there's what do you call it, women's sports, too, at every college. But
it looks like this is, like, the football facility. So
it does.
Just weird that there were females there.
There's, like, giant saunas and stuff. They're in tanning beds. I thought this was funny, too, the tanning
beds.
Yeah,
I didn't get this part. I didn't get what... He's the guy who's pretending to be the
like, technician or whatever.
And then they're just, like, standing there. I thought that was so weird.
Yeah, I think that was just, like, a dig at, like, the Hollywood thing. You know, like, a tanning bed would be, like, a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, here's old Tech shows up back at his house to say, you know, has he made pressure and has he made up his mind, whatever. He tells the grandpa, like, you know, like, we're going to cancel that order. It turns out Tech's placed that order for all the fishing lures. Which, you know, that's how it goes with these sleazy people.
That's how the grandpa discovers it.
Yeah.
He gets sad.
Yeah, he gets really sad, too. And I'm like, did you really think everybody, like, because, I mean, the whole family was chipping in, the kids, everybody was trying to make them shitty things?
Well, it's just because Johnny's not telling them what it's really like what they offer and what they do. So, you know, I don't know. You wouldn't assume that a college recruiter person buys like thousands of fishing lures from you.
And I mean, it's not like they told him either.
Yeah.
Like, it was like, you know.
Yeah. Alright, he's back from UCC apparently.
This is kind of the thing I always remembered from this movie. He comes back, but his hair's like all flat again. Like, that's why I almost think like the Jim McMahon thing was like a thing they shot like later or something.
Yeah.
But like he comes back, he's like in this weird like, almost like, this was before MC Hammer, obviously, but it's almost like a weird MC Hammer Prince outfit. Like these kind of like purple pants and this purple and gold sequin jacket and all these gold chains on.
And his friend conveniently has a new Jeep now.
Yeah, so Robert Downey Jr. has like a really nice Jeep. And Jeep Wrangler, and he's like, "Oh, where'd you get this car?" He's like, "Oh, my dad gave it to me." He's like, "Okay, like."
No, he's like, "I thought you didn't get along with your dad."
Yeah, he's like, "Oh, we had breakfast, we worked it out," and it's like just so obvious that like there's some more shit.
I totally didn't catch on to it. Like, I just didn't even like think that's what it was. Yeah. I mean, I didn't think. Well, I don't know. They don't really talk about him or his family life, so I was like, okay, I guess that's what happened.
Yeah, they did. Well, like in the early scene, in the beginning of the movie, like the little sister asked Robert Downey Jr., "How come you never eat at your house?" And like he doesn't really say anything.
Yeah.
But it's just like you kind of just get the feeling that, you know. See, like the cop here, he doesn't have those weird scratches on his face anymore. So like, I think there was like a deleted scene where like he was supposed to get in trouble.
Probably got into an accident or something.
Yeah. So yeah, like Uma is you know, whatever about his prince. I always remember this part too, for some reason, where he's walking down the street and he starts shucking and jiving, a little dancing and all that kind of shit. And then like I think it's funny too though, because it's yeah, his little brother shows up on the bike and he's like, "Oh, you dressed like Prince's mom or something." But it's just like he walks in the door and like you would think he like came in like women's lingerie or something. Like his family is so like, we don't recognize you anymore. Just because, I mean, he's like whatever, an 18-year-old kid, you know. It's like he's got some goofy clothes on. It's like big deal.
It's because he's just out of character.
Like, who are you? We don't know who you are anymore. You're dressed like...
He's acting so weird.
Yeah. And then the whole house is covered in the fishing lures they were trying to make.
No, it's just mostly because they discovered, you know, the truth about the lures. It's not because of how he's dressed.
But, like, I guess they, like, made thousands of them and now nobody wants to buy them or whatever.
Yeah.
I just thought it was a little weird that, like, the mom was, like, catching on, like, now.
Because the last 2 visits are the only 2 times that he came home dressed weird.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the other times he came home normal.
Yeah. Which, like, if he didn't buy them, if somebody gave them to him, like that actually would be like a violation if they gave him jewelries and clothes. I mean, they gave him the Adidas jacket at the commercial shoot or whatever.
And that's why the guy documented it on the recorder.
Yeah.
You start noticing that every time he shows up, he's actually documenting everything that he's accepting and that all the stuff he's being given.
Yeah. And he was just watching Putney Swope just for the fun of it. There was really nothing going on at that part of the movie.
Yeah, I don't know what he would be being offered at that time at a drive-in at night
by his girlfriend. Recruiter.
Yeah. I don't know why he was watching him then. But,
I guess if they gotta watch you, they gotta watch you, though.
Yeah, because they could try and come to you at the drive-in.
Yeah. Try to buy you popcorn.
He's so sad.
I wish drive-ins were still a thing.
I know.
Like, it's kind of shocking that drive-ins died out as early as they did, too. Like, I get they're a big 1940s and 50s thing, but, like, they were pretty much dying out by the early 80s, even.
Well, that's what happened when the economy, everybody's got to work.
It's like that, yeah, it's like that thing of, like, the new way of doing shit. I think it's like home video probably killed the drive-ins for good, honestly.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Murph's Better Burger.
Yeah, so this is where the movie starts getting into, like, some really, like, weird territory here. So, like, they go to, like, whatever, this little restaurant, you know, little drive-in place. And, like, they're getting ready to pull up, probably get something to eat or whatever. But then, like, in a second here, like, these girls are going to show up in, like, a IROC Z28. And they're like, hey, we're new in town and we've never had sex. Like, can you help us? And then, like, they follow them to a motel. Like, it's just so funny. It's just, like, such an obvious setup. Like, I can't believe they even fell for it.
And it's funny that, like, I mean, Robert Downey Jr. goes for obvious reasons, but Johnny is going just so he could go talk somebody's ear off.
Yeah. It's kind of funny because, like, he's still kind of, like, they kind of made up, but, like, he's still kind of, like, a little bit on the whatever outs with Uma, I guess.
Yeah.
Is it just me or does that Jeep, like, look way better than the ones they have now?
Probably.
Yeah, they go to the No-Tell Motel. This is, like, pure, like, back-to-school Weird Science era Robert Downey Jr. here. He's got two girls in bed, and he's just talking their ear off, telling these bullshit. Like, this is one of the scenes I was talking about where he's just saying some shit, and, like, you don't even understand, like, what he's saying.
Yeah.
He just, I forget what he said, but he's just like, oh, there. And then Johnny's just sitting at the table. That is weird how, like, shitty hotel rooms always have that little table by the window.
And then every time they go back to Robert Downey Jr. is missing a piece of clothing.
Yeah. Which they never say, but, like, are we supposed to, like, get the whatever that the girls are taking his clothes off? Or like,
I don't know. I think he's just doing it.
Yeah.
In the middle of the conversation.
Yeah. But, and these girls, like, they got the pure 80s hair going on. But,
so does he.
Yeah, he does too. Which, like, I wouldn't doubt, because this is such a wacky role, but we're watching this, so like, he was in Less Than Zero, which was kind of like his big dramatic breakout.
She's bored.
Which was like 87, and then this came out in 88. I wonder if they filmed this first or like what, because it's like, yeah, like he kind of became like a serious actor after that and started doing leads and everything. Yeah, he's got this. He's got the one girl in a headlock. Which, by the way, like I noticed it during the whatever celebration. He had a cheerleader in the shower in a headlock too.
Full Nelson.
Yeah, full Nelson. And the one girl goes, "Let her go already. It's been an hour."
And it's so weird how he grabs her and then he grabs her hand.
Yeah,
they're just like holding hands.
Yeah, it's really weird.
So awkward. She's like, "Can we just do it already?"
Yeah, this girl's like, "Can we just have sex?"
What?
And then Johnny realizes something's wrong, and then all of a sudden the cops show up, and then like it's so hilarious. Like the girls are all fully dressed. They rip their shirts completely off, like their boobs hanging out, everything, and they just start screaming, "Rape, rape, rape!"
Look at Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
What is his name? The character?
I forget.
I can't remember. Oh my god.
So him and Johnny are in the slammer, and like it's all these like I don't know, kind of nefarious dudes.
This guy with no shirt.
Yeah, got like.
No, he doesn't even have clothes.
Yeah, he was just in his underwear. It's funny too because like in his underwear and like his giant ass Adidas like high tops, which I didn't think about it, but apparently Adidas had to be a sponsor of this movie because like they're like the only brand of shit you see in this.
The only sports brand.
So this is like the part like you clearly know obviously this was a setup what happened to them or whatever, but Robert Downey Jr. tells him like why don't you just make a call, like we can get out of this, just one of the schools or whatever. I forget which one he says, but like it's like you like at this point I was wondering like if Robert Downey Jr. was like in on it too or what.
He says UCC because that was the one that they told them the person from UCC convinced him to go to the school to visit.
Yeah.
Because that's what he says. You set me up. He was like, well, he said, I didn't set you up. I just convinced you to go or whatever.
Yeah. But
I thought that part was sad because, like, even his friend, like...
Because, again, we don't have the captions. Like, was that the part where he admitted that the school gave him the Jeep, too?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, that's what he said. You set me up.
And then, like, here comes the, like, their high school coach who wants them to go to Piermont. And he's just like, oh, he, like, basically tells them, like, come to school and we can make this go away if not. And it's kind of weird, too, because it's like, then it just cuts to, like, this is over, like, they're out of jail or whatever. Because they need to go, like, because I was wondering, like, did Johnny really ever tell the coach that he was going with him to Piermont,
No. I mean, he did, but... Like, when they were at the drive-in, he said, yeah, I'll be there for the visit, but he never told them he was going, like, for sure.
But, like, clearly here is, like, the coach is saying, like, I'll get you out if you go. You know? He's not going to get... Because, like, Downey Jr. is like, hey, bail us out right now. And he's like, no. Yeah. He's like, So now we just cut to, like, National Signing Day. And, like, they're doing it at Johnny's school. And, like, they kind of up the ante, too, because it's like...
I like how everybody's just going through that one door.
Yeah.
Oh, there, the other one.
Finally. I think his mom was going in the other door. But, and, like, they show, like, it's not, like, ESPN, but it's, like, ESPN-type reporters explaining what's going on, that they're all going to do signing the letters of intent. Which, by the way, even if you sign... It's kind of funny that National Signing Day is always a big deal, but, like, it really doesn't mean anything. Because even if you sign the letter of intent, you can still get out of it if you change your mind.
It's ceremonial.
Yeah. But, like, old Tex and, like, all the different people, the guy from UCC's there.
I was gonna say, that window's pretty cool with the flag.
Yeah, like, it's like stained glass type. Like, they did tiles to make the gym windows look like a big American flag. But, yeah, and again, the coach, he's in his finest leisure suit, which has, like, been out of style for probably 15 years at this point. But he don't care. He thinks he looks good. But yeah, like he comes up and like, I thought this was interesting too that like they showed that like because everybody wants to go where Johnny's going, also like all those guys that he met down in Texas, the top recruits, they're all coming along too.
Yeah.
Which like if they would have done that like at any school, like they probably would have built like a super team, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, they kind of make it seem like. Yeah, he did agree after all to go to Piermont since he got out of the jail.
So so they bring Johnny up to talk and he explains that, he basically gives his redemption speech that he realizes he got carried away and was doing all this weird stuff and, it's not what he wanted. And, he tells him that, he's not going to Piermont with them, and then that's when just all hell's going to break loose here in a second.
Yeah. But he's saying it unbeknownst to the coach.
Yeah, the coach doesn't know what he's about to say.
Yeah. He thinks he's just going along for the announcement that he's going to Piermont.
Which, like, you kind of know, like, that the movie's, like, headed at this place, like, with, like, what everything he's saying. Kind of talking about how corrupt and crazy everything is.
I have to say I didn't expect it when he said it.
Yeah.
I didn't think that's what he was gonna say.
But it's like I'd say it's pretty satisfying, really.
Yeah.
Like it kind of sums up the movie and like the whole point of kind of making the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then everybody's like, "Hey, if Johnny doesn't go there, we're not going there either." And then like Seymour Cassell tries to jump up and be like, "Oh, well, you all have to go." And then this is what Downey Sr. finally... And again, you have to understand this is very kind of shaky movie logic, but he gets on the microphone and tells that he's been doing this investigation for the NCAA and expose all this corruption, and even that they set Johnny up for rape charges. So, like, you didn't know for sure, but yeah, the rape thing was a setup, and it was actually done by his coach in Piermont to force him to go there.
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously, as a viewer, you knew something was wrong there. So yeah, I think it was a good conclusion. And then it's all going to get crazy. Like Pankow comes up, and then all the coaches start shoving, like, "You can't do this. You promised me," and blah, blah, all this shit. And then like it's kind of weird. Like it's going to just devolve fully into a Pankow tries to punch the one coach, and he punches like this giant dude, and they start brawling. It's a pretty good deal when he picks the guy up over his head and throws him.
Oh.
But yeah, the next thing you know, like the whole gymnasium's all punching each other. Even that lady's punching people. All the coaches are beating each other up.
Sheesh. Oh my god.
Yeah, this dude, the ball guy, he just kicks everybody in the nuts.
Those two women are attacking that guy.
Yeah.
Oh my god, he's gonna drop him on his head.
And of course, Uma and Robert Downey Jr. are there. The crew is still intact. They're not going anywhere.
This ragtag trio.
Yeah. And it's kind of funny, too, because it's like... Yeah. Like,
no!
Yeah. And then the coach is running after him, and then the grandpa comes out and hits him with a chair. That's pretty good.
And he says, "I never liked that guy."
Yeah. So here we see, Johnny, he's kind of learned the error of his ways, and he goes back to the state coach, Steve James, and tells him, he no funny stuff. He just wants to, play football and go to school and follow the rules and everything. So
it's so weird the way he's dressed with just like the t-shirt and like the kind of bell-bottomy jeans and the skinny soccer shoes. I feel like I've like known so many people in my lifetime who dressed like that.
Yeah, I mean,
like many guys.
That was pretty much a thing for like decades, really. I'd say 2 decades, really.
He says, "I want an education."
Yeah. And then the movie kind of just like abruptly ends, but not really. And like I thought that was weird, like all the wrap up of what happened to like all the people, all the characters, like they just play it underneath the credits. It's like, and then plus 2, you get to rock out to everything. Like first you have this scene where like him and Steve James are shaking hands and shaking on the deal, and then you get to hear, I think it's Chuck Berry's Johnny B. Good play where he comes out of the school building and going to the convertible with the Uma and Downey Jr. And like you noticed it too, but like when he pulls away, Downey Jr.'s kind of sitting on the back of the car. God. He like almost falls out. He's so silly. But, like, they're dressed so summery, though. Like, that's what's weird. It's like... And this should be, like, if not late fall, early winter.
It is weird.
Yeah. And then kind of, like, once they drive off and that's the end of the movie, then it goes from... Kind of bizarrely, you just played...
Everybody in this movie drove, like, crazy.
Yeah, like, they pedaled them out. Like, they always peeled out when, like, they start the car. Yeah, I noticed that, too. But yeah, you go from one version of Johnny B. Good to what turned out to be the Judas Priest version. Mm-hmm. And they kind of go back to the montage of him playing the drums and watching the football highlights. And then like intersped in that, they start cutting in the clips of what like the aftermath of like what happened to everybody in it. Howard Cosell makes another appearance, of course. Unfortunately, still just as shaky. Poor guy.
No, stop talking about that.
It just makes me sad. But yeah, like
his old Tex.
Tex and his wife, and then like
talking about basketball now.
Yeah,
since they can't do football.
Yeah, like their school got penalized.
Oh, it does say Robert Downey Sr.
Yeah, their school got penalized for the thing. So he's like, oh, there's basketball season. We can try and get good in that. And then Pankow, like he's been banned from any contact with the UCC. He's getting a full body cast, but he's still doing deals. Downey Jr. gets his Jeep repossessed. And then, like, last but not least, the best part is, like, the, for the framing of the rape and shit, Paul Gleason, his high school coach, is now in jail. He's screaming, oh, this is unfair, or whatever. Yeah, and Piermont got sanctioned as well. So, yeah, I mean, not a perfect movie by any means, but, like, I think it's actually pretty good. Just kind of all that first act, a lot of silly shit that really kind of goes nowhere for nothing. But yeah, like the stuff I always remember of this was like all the crazy recruiting trips and the stuff. But like, yeah, I think it still holds up pretty well for what it is. I mean, it's a very minor movie, but I still like it a lot.
Yeah.
What was because you went into this movie completely cold.
I did.
Because the reason I wanted to watch it at this time too was we were supposed to have a Super Bowl with the Cincinnati Bengals playing the Philadelphia Eagles, but the NFL stepped in and was letting the Chiefs redo plays, and
they deemed it unworthy.
Yeah, blown away. So like so I was like. The Johnny B. Good character, especially when he dresses all crazy coming back from UCC, reminds me of Joe Burrow from the Bengals and all his weird multicolored outfits and Joe Cool persona. So I thought it'd be kind of fun. And I was going to tie it in a lot to, I was going to do a lot of jokes of, but the NFL screwed up. And I really just feel, I mean, obviously, like, the Bengals should have went. But that would have been a more entertaining Super Bowl. Now they just get to see all the gimpy Chiefs get torn apart because they all got hurt in the game too. So I really feel bad for just America now. We're going to have to get this terrible Super Bowl where like one team can't even really play because they're all so hurt. But yeah, like it's still it's fun. Because, like, I don't know, I'm not really about the sports movies that are all about the team that worked together to win the championship. I don't really, those are fine and everything, but, I don't know, I like the ones that are more like this, that are about a story, about an athlete and not really about, a team per se.
To me, this would have been a movie to watch in the fall because it's a high school football movie.
Yeah.
That was when it was on like Donkey Kong in high school for me.
Yeah. but actually it's because it takes place after the season ends. It would actually be more appropriate for this time period.
Yeah, I guess so.
Plus the Super Bowl's coming up, which unfortunately won't be Super anymore. It will just be a bowl. But
a bowl of something inappropriate.
Yeah. Oh. A bowl of beef stew. Let's leave it at that.
Hey, beef stew's good.
but yeah, so
a bowl of donkey poo.
So everybody, if there's any Eagles fans, congratulations. I know the Super Bowl's not for another 2 weeks, but you guys already won. Chiefs fans, I'm sorry. The refs. So, what kind of sucked too is you think for pulling out that mission the way they did the referees, you think they would get something good, but I heard all they got was a 6-pack of Miller High Life, and they got one. They didn't even send them a hooker. The NFL sent them a fleshlight to share. How are a whole referee crew going to share one fleshlight? That's not even a good payoff. So I hope it was worth it.
What is it?
A fleshlight.
What is that?
It's like a flashlight, but I don't know. Some guy figured this out. The old. I think we used to buy them the plastic flashlights, the Rayovacs, and you know how you unscrew it, and then the double D batteries go into it. Well, some jackass realized that if you took the molds for a flashlight like that, the old plastic flashlights, and you took the top part with the light bulb out and ripped out the guts and the wiring or whatever, and then replaced that with a mouth, then you could basically,
oh my God.
basically jerk yourself off with it.
Gee.
But you're supposed to really like fuck it, like it's like a real thing.
Yeah.
But it's really like, you know,
Jeez.
it's be like jerking off with a flashlight. That's why they call it a flashlight.
Yeah.
Even. And like
Shashers.
like you can get them that look like a mouth. You can get them that look like a vagina. Obviously, I'm sure an anus as well.
I'm sorry. I knew I shouldn't have asked.
But yeah, but to ask an officiating crew of grown men to share a fleshlight, that's like I mean, come on, it's like not even worth it. Like the time it would take to clean it out in between.
TMI.
But yeah, so I mean, that's it for Johnny Be Good. It's a real slap ass sports movie.
And on that note,
yeah. But I recommend it highly, especially, you know, in like Downey Jr. and Anthony Michael Hall, like they stayed buddies for years, and like years later in the mid 90s, I think it was, like maybe like 94, 96, something like that, Anthony Michael Hall directed this kind of bad movie. I think it was called like Hail Caesar or something. And Robert Downey Jr. came back and did a favor and was in it. Like, if you ever see it, it's like the most if you thought they were improvising and goofing around this movie, that one's like pretty much unwatchable. But like, yeah,
was Anthony in that one?
Yeah, he I want to say it's like they're like a garage band trying to make it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he directed and starred in it.
When was that?
Like mid 90s, like 94. It was like one of those movies that like. I think it might have even been kind of like made years before it came out, and like it came out just on video, and it was like, but if you watch it, it's like hardly a movie at all. It's like weird. But yeah, I think this one is a good of just like, if you want a good blend of a late 80s slap ass comedy, a little bit of Porky's, a little bit of, you know, football drama and just goofiness, you know. And it's like, you know, this movie has...
You're not easily offended.
Yeah. But it's weird, though, because this movie's, like, really not, like, that raunchy. Like, the little... Like, the girls at the strip club have pasties on.
No, I just mean, like, in terms of, like, the language.
Yeah, but what I'm saying
is... If you care about that.
Like, if they would have made this, like 5 years earlier, like 1983, like this would have been like wall to wall tits, like, you know what I mean?
It really didn't have that much. It was just like that, like you said, that whole beginning part was really like kind of goofy. They blew their load on like trying to rattle some gauges. But yeah, the rest of it was fine.
Yeah, I liked this movie a lot as a kid. I think I probably would have been about 10 years old when I went to see this.
Oh my God, I can't
believe it. And what? Hey,
you should not be watching this at 10 years old. I
saw Blue Velvet when I was like 7 or 8 years old at the theater.
Don't talk to me about that movie.
But yeah, and like I always like, I think probably my favorite part as a kid, like to me, like I was like impressed that the credits were like that montage of him playing drums and shit, like because like back then, like there was no like. I mean, there were some very rare, like, after-credit scenes, but they would be super short. Yeah. But there was, like... But the credits were always just, you know, the text over black scrolling. Yeah. So, like, the fact that, like, they kind of just kept the movie going and showing the montage of what happened to all the characters, like, that actually kind of impressed me as a kid, to be honest with you.
That's funny.
I still like it. It's weird. It's, like, one of those things, like, you have, like, such strong... vivid memories of certain things and you don't even really know why. Like I remember watching this movie at the theater at the good old my original home cinema, the Covedale Cinema in beautiful Covedale, Ohio. But yeah, so I mean that's it. Not much to say. I'm glad you guys joined us for this one. Trying to before this podcast winds down. I don't know when that will be, obviously. But, I mean, we're getting pretty long in the tooth here, going on whatever it is, 7 years or whatever. Trying to really, just me personally, trying to kind of slip in these gems that were, like, little, not really movies that are, like, well-beloved or anything, but just ones that I personally remember as a kid, I personally like. So, like, yeah, this was definitely one of them. So I appreciate, you know, the audience for indulging me and letting me talk about Johnny Be Good, and also you as well. So, like, just to wrap up, like, what was just your general impression of this movie? Did you like it? Did you
I thought it was okay. Like, yeah. I feel like I wasn't the audience for it, but
yeah.
So I mean, I'm not gonna hate on it like at all because it wasn't meant for me. But I thought it was okay. Like, I didn't... Yeah. I felt sentimental for him and, like, just the situation he was going through. And I liked in the end that he ended up choosing, quote-unquote, the right decision. Yeah. The good decision, you know, just going to school for education and doing things the right way and all that. So I appreciated that. Like,
yeah, not trying to take the short. Yeah. If it was me personally, I just would have went to UCC.
Oh god!
Try to make it to the NFL, but
become a roid rage.
Yeah. But yeah, so anyway, that's it, guys. Thanks. You know, football's coming to a close for a year. Hope you guys had a good football season. If you are a fan, even if you're not really a fan. Because not
good
really
luck
that.
To your team in the Super Bowl if your team is going.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, if you're an Eagles fan, congratulations. But anyway,
my team puttered out.
Yeah.
1,000 times hard. So.
Yeah. Old Tex didn't get very far this year, did he?
Ha ha ha.
All right. So anyway, guys, thanks a lot for listening, and we'll catch you back next time in the movie graveyard.